everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Concrete with the Hosses. Show you what we got going on today. After a little bit of a drive, we went to the wrong housing plan this morning. So we finally made it here. We're gonna hit this basement. I just measured up for concrete. 20 yards will do this whole area. Just had a little bit of raking to do. They had it stoned in real nice for us. Spreading some plastic. Matt's marking walls. Tommy's chalking lines. Mixer is heading this way. We'll get this plastic opened up and get some tools out. Should be a pretty nice basement for today. We'll get this, we're gonna bring the mixer in through this window and we'll just hit the wheelbarrow right here. We can plastic in this door and get a heater going. Get it nice and toasty. All right, we jumped up here in the garage, set the 2 floor drains to height. And what, Jim, hold up one second, Jim. We just pull a measurement down from the beam, marking the wall, and then same number down from the beam, marking our grade height. So once we establish that, we can set a pin or we can just pull a number with a tape measure while we're pouring, and then that'll give us our slope to the drains each side. On a garage this size, we typically go 1.5 inch fall from the wall to the drain. All right. Grade's pretty close in there, Steve? Yeah. A little bit high there. All right, I'm gonna jump on the front porch. So I came over here to the front porch on this metal decking. And I also wanted to point out there's a brick ledge here that they're gonna put probably 5 courses of brick, maybe 6 courses of brick underneath the pad. So we need to, this is about 3.5, 4 inches. We need to build a lip, not a ledge, 5.5 inches out. Tapcon that to the concrete wall, and then our concrete will cantilever over this. So we'll go ahead and put that lip together now. And that has to be pretty rigid. If it flexes at all during the pour or right after the pour, that'll hairline crack right up off of here. So we want this to be pretty stout, pretty rugged. Okay, so we got all the lumber gathered up. Just take a short 2x4 block, put it to our height that we want. Pencil mark underneath it. And we hold our 2x4 just to that height. These nails are just to hold it in place. Now a guy will come behind me and we'll Tapcon it on. One thing I want to point out, right here we have a seam. We don't want our seams lining up. That makes this stronger and that makes that stronger. So we're screwing this board on. Now we're cantilevered out 5.5 inches. Our brick will come up underneath there, leaving us about 1.5 inch reveal over here. Same thing on this side. I cantilevered this over, so we'll get a screw. Sorry, we'll cantilever this over and get a screw in there. So then I just make a little notch around that. No big deal, but it kind of keys everything together. And run that board back. Yeah, see? All right, so we're just screwing our 2x6 board on. So that gives us our 5.5 inch cantilever aught. brick will come up underneath here. It'll be set back. It'll be set back about 1.5 inches under here. Concrete will be up here. So we just came out here. So these line up with our corners. Tom will cut that off. Wait a minute. Wait. You're way short.
No, I just pulled it up.
Oh, okay. Woo! That's better. You scared me, Jim. So that'll get screwed straight down, and then we have one more thing to do. One of the seams for the concrete panels, the material, the concrete oozes out, just holds us out. So chip it off and get our forms in a little bit tighter. That's good. So now this is all attached. Now all we need to do is go from this ledge. We'll cut 2x4 blocks to fit in here. See how that'll flex? We just want to get something solid from here to here. So 20 feet long, 22 feet long. We'll put probably 6 in here.
That's 10 5/8. This is 10.5.
Okay. There you go. 10 5/8. Yeah. Okay. So the block's nice and straight. Jim will put one 8-penny nail through the top. That way later on you can knock them right out. Okay, way to go, Jim. Take 2. There is a knot right there. Good. So put a nail right here. That way nothing moves. These are all nailed in place. Once we get down pressure on them, they're not going anywhere. One, 2, 3 blocks there, and we're good. So we have our 5.5-inch board to cantilever out. We have our blocking in place, tacked through the top, so we can get these out later. Next is our face board, and we do that with a 2x8. So my best edge, and let me point out, we like a nice clean edge out here. So be picky about your lumber. Make sure you have a good edge on this side, because we like to edge that, and I'll go over that later. So now our face board right here, we want a good edge on our top concrete. So we pull down 5.5 inches and put marks about every 4 feet. And go ahead, put that up. Now we just look right at our mark, and Steve will run a screw in. And you start at one end. Matt, can you hold this? So he starts at the end, looking at his marks, right here. Yep. And then sew on down the board. That way if you have to move it 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, you can do that. If you start in the middle, you can start in the middle and work to the ends. We always start at the end and go with it. Once again, I talked earlier about staggering our seams. We have a seam here. Now we're back to our seam over here. That gets everything tied together nice and strong. And then Steve will put a block on the house to hold that end from pushing out. 5.5, and that should be good. Again, starting on the end. And Steve will run a diagonal screw through there, tying those two boards together, as well as through the face.
Okay. Toe screw.
A toe screw. And looking for our marks. Here's one here. Down a bump. Down a bump. Good, right there. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Mr. Obvious.
And then one last thing we do, we quick square down there. Give me a line there. There you go. Yeah. Why is there two lines?
Because it moved.
Oh my gosh.
It's the one to the left, Paul.
Okay. So you want a nice square line here. That way this form gets put in straight and not like that. You'll see that edge in the face.
Ready?
Yep. Steve just lines up the top. And then what we do here, we don't pull down 5.5. We need some fall on this porch so water shades away from it. Quarter bubble, 2%. It's exactly what we're looking for. Come over here. Nice pencil mark right there. Good. And that is how you form up a porch with a cantilevered edge. We don't know when the bricklayers are coming. It could be next week, it could be in the spring. So at least the porch will be done. We'll run a couple braces off of there. We probably don't need them, but we'll put them on anyways. So while we were getting the porch ready, Matt and Steve got this sill on. This is called a frost wall. We'll pour this about a foot thick right here at the garage door. It comes in and steps up 1.5 inches to our floor height. Our floor drains are set at 1.5 inches below the top of the floor height. And we'll get rebar on top of that ledge running continuous from side to side. They're coming on the cement truck. We're going to try and pour this tomorrow. Mixer should be here any minute for the basement. There we go. Straight down the plywood. Start in the corner, come down the wall, around the wall, down to the posts, and fill it in. We'll get a couple of these, then I'll go to time lapse. This concrete is about a 6-inch lump. See how it cones up? That's how they measure the wetness of the concrete. This is 4,000 limestone with fiber mesh reinforcement in the concrete. This is all solid here, so we don't need wire mesh, and we certainly don't need rebar. This is all solid, good gravel base. If this was a limestone base, we could just wheelbarrow right on top of it, but the gravel rolls too much that it makes it too hard to push the wheelbarrows, and so we put down plywood. So the guys just thump around the walls, trying to get it right close to that blue line. Jim will give it a shake. Tommy gives it a float. And so on. Okay, that was 10 yards. It's going to be close, real close, if 10 does this and this little bit. If we come up short, it's only going to be a yard or two, and we'll get more coming. But mathematically, 20 yards should do this, and we'll see what happens here in the next half hour. Number 2 truck is backing in right now. You notice we put zip strips in off of our corners, and that's just a thin piece of plastic stripping that we use so we don't have to come back and saw cut or do tool cutting in these basements. We do it down the beams, down the posts, as well as off of the corner. This strip I'm talking about is a T-shaped plastic material. It goes in the concrete. This stays behind, and the top peels off, leaving this in the concrete. So we don't have to, like I said, so we don't have to do saw cutting or tool cutting. Number 2 truck backing in. Backs in and pulls right up to the door, right up to the window. There comes second truck all mixed up. Now we'll take his first concrete and we'll go right around our concrete here and get nice tie in. We'll do that all the way around our cold joint so we don't get a cold joint. And then we'll go down the wall and we'll come right through the center here and make a screed here and do this in 2 pulls, and then up and out the window. So there, Jim's doing a blend right there, getting a little mix together from old to new. Get a couple minutes of this and go to time lapse. Got a drip? All right. Matt will just come straight. No, dump. All right, one more there, and we're good. So I take my straight edge and I leave a mark in the concrete, nice and straight, or as straight as I can, with the old zip strip. Now we'll just place this new zip right in that mark. Push it down in place. Can you straighten me out there, Steve? Yep. Peel the top off, and we usually use the top just for our short pieces. So this is 1 inch thick, or 1 inch deep, 1/16 of an inch wide. We'll trowel right over it. For a couple days you won't even know it's there. and then you'll just see a tiny little hairline crack right down that. All right, making our way out the door. So we just bull float as we go. Usually over and back is all it takes. You move it about 3/4 of a width of a bull float each time. Getting kind of dark back there. So Matt's going to take over straight edging, bring it right to the door. Pull that handle. No. We just have 2 rakers, one on each side. Looks like we're really close with concrete. Still think you're short? Pretty close. So then the last 1.5 feet we just hit with a float. I think we got it right on the money. Didn't take any in, didn't take any out. All right, a little bit of bull floating. All done. Bull float, places like this. Notice the knuckle we have on that bull float. You twist it right or left, and it raises or lowers the bull float for forward or back. But we have this little knee wall here, so if it was no knuckle and you got to go up and down, you wouldn't even be able to get close. But watch how close Matt can get with that wall being right in his way. And they have a lot of different types of these knuckles. But all but the last 2 feet, there you go, another foot. So about 14, 16 inches there, and we can easily float that. Concrete's just a little bit wet. 2 guys are on it, working to the very first stuff that we poured. Nice easy float, nice flat trowel, over and back. You don't want it to look super nice right now. You just want to keep all that cream up on top, all the rocks nice and flat. Then as that hardens up, you turn that trowel up on edge, shine it up. So about 1/4 of the way, first pass, all that's a little bit too wet. So I'll keep you posted. Stay tuned. Okay, so I just got on the floor. It's close to being ready to finish, maybe just a little bit soft. See how that's starting to shine up pretty nice. Still just a little bit wet. I'm starting to see some chatter in there. So we'll just let that sit a minute and come right back to it. Out here in front of the heater, a little bit better. I just move out a little bit more. I'll let that tighten up. Over and back. You want to find that angle and pressure that it looks like that. You don't want it to look like that on your pass. Nice and flat, keeping all that cream up on top. You can see how this is troweling better. That's a little softer. So we're right at that point where it's just about ready. I'm just on it a little bit soon for this. I just wanted to show you what to look for. You can see the difference from first truck to second truck. Okay, the guys are about halfway done with the floor. You can see how nice it's starting to shine up. Jim's just making his way back around second truck. Tommy and Matt are back there finishing first truck. And that just needs touched up a little bit right there. But the wetter the concrete, the slower you go. You can see Jim nice and slow, nice and flat. Where Matt has a little bit faster pace back there on the harder concrete. As always, thanks for tuning in to Concrete with the Hosses. We're finishing up this floor. I'm going to leave the camera here on time lapse just to get a little bit of the finish. And I'll grab the other camera. Steven and I and Stan are going to go prep another floor we'll do later this week. So have a good day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.